once again from the Illegal Shift Studio. It is another episode of the One More and I'm Out of Here podcast, and we got to stop meeting like this. People are going to start talking.
I know.
This is like 2 days in a row.
I know it.
Very weird, very unusual, but glad to be here, and glad you are here as well as I crack open my first beer of the day. It's a good one right there.
It went everywhere. It was a good one.
Did you get some on you?
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
I got
friendly fire.
Got some on me. That makes it fun, though.
It's not that kind of podcast.
That makes it fun. That's why I wear safety glasses.
Safety first.
Safety first. Dano, how was your day today?
Spent a lot of time over at our buddy Trinity's house. He's got a few projects around the house he needs done, and I was working on those. Got some of them done. Some of them need a little more work tomorrow. Is my mic on?
Yeah, it is.
Hello.
You're not as boisterous as you normally are.
So did a little work over there. Got home, got cleaned up, and here I am. So that's pretty much been my day today.
All right, so you didn't have a golf explosion like you had yesterday.
No, but our buddy Nobes texted me today. He said I'm playing golf at 3:30 at Legendary. Do you want to play? And I said yes, I want to play, but I have a podcast.
Yeah, what's funny is I got a text message to play golf today, and I was going down to see our buddy Rob, and then I had a meeting about his fundraiser, and then I had the podcast. So I said I have to respectfully decline. Glenn Hawk, I appreciate the invite. Was going to be at Legendary as well.
Then we probably would have seen each other.
Well, I think I was going to be playing earlier than you.
How about if you like called me and said, Dan, something came up, I can't do the podcast, or I called you and said something came up and I can't do the podcast, and we decided not to do the podcast, and then we see each other on the golf course.
Well, I think
I'm playing with Nobes going one way, you're playing with Glenn going the other way, and we're like, hey, wait a minute, I thought you had something going on.
Well, I think history has shown that I have never bailed on the podcast for.
I'm just saying that would be funny
for frivolous things.
I'm just saying it would be funny if we both blew off the podcast and you made up an excuse, I made up an excuse, and we see each other at the same golf.
It'd be like Ferris Bueller's Day Off, where you get caught on camera at the Cubs game. I won't blow the podcast off because we have people that right, wrong, or indifferent do want to hear what we have to say, or at least they pretend that they want to hear what they have to say.
That's why I'm glad to be here. But here's the thing. You know, when we sit down, we try to sit down 2 or 3 weeks ahead of time and make our schedule for days that we're going to podcast.
Correct.
This is February 26th. Normally on this day, on an average year, it is somewhere around 0 degrees.
Yeah,
there's usually snow on the ground. It's like the frozen tundra of the north. The wind is blowing 30, 40 miles an hour. February typically is the most miserable month to live in the Cincinnati and southern Ohio area.
I call February and March purgatory.
Yeah. Oh, it sucks. I mean, it is brutal.
Now we bitch. Now we have a friend, Jonathan Bates, who lives in South Dakota, which their winters are way, way worse than ours.
Slightly worse.
But ours are gray and just bullshit and just cold. And today it's 67 degrees outside.
It's pushing 70 right now.
It was a great day.
I had a solid 69 on my car thermometer as I was coming over. I got shorts on right now.
69.
I'm just saying that's what the number was.
I know. That's a good number. I like that number. One of my favorite numbers.
That's what the number was.
I want to hit some quick housekeeping business.
Please do.
So our buddy Rob is still down and out. We're hoping for some good things to come ahead, but I had a meeting today and we have established when we're doing a fundraiser for Rob on March 16th, and I'm going to talk with Aaron, his wife, to obviously you got David J in San Diego, you got Faulknerator in California. If anybody wants to donate to Rob at Rob's family and whatever, I'm gonna talk with her, see if she's good with it, but I'm probably going to get her Venmo because we're going to have some podcasts before the event on March 16th. But I'm going to put that up there, and that way you can scan it. If you want to donate or whatever, no pressure, but we're just trying to help the family out and whatever. But we actually were able to get some stuff solidified today, which kind of takes a little bit of load off. That way we know everything's planned and scheduled and good to go. So you may be seeing that in the upcoming episodes, but it was a good meeting, and it's going to be at the Anderson Tap House on March 16th, starting at 4:30.
There are a few, if any, people that I know who like to plan things more than you do.
I like it and I hate it at the same time.
I
like it. And
we
I
all
hate it at the
have
same
our
time.
crosses to bear.
Right.
No, but when it comes to planning things, getting your ducks set up, getting things all in a row, this guy right here, stickler.
Makes me feel better.
Stickler, yeah.
Makes me feel better when I know all the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed, or the T's are dotted and the I's are crossed. Either way. But yeah, so we had a great meeting today.
Good.
So we've got some things, in the works for Rob and his family. So that's great. So you might see that. And like I said, no pressure. But Rob loves all of you. And I know you love him, even though we love to hate him sometimes. But that's our thing.
I mean, he's a big part of the podcast, man.
That's our thing.
And we would not be here right now if it weren't for Rob really driving the bus on this thing. Back in the day,
I know we need our attorney back.
Yeah, he was. We
need our business attorney.
He was the one who pushed both of us to finally go ahead and commit on this.
Yep, absolutely.
And so we would not be here if it weren't for him.
So that's the housekeeping, and I'll say 100%, just because.
Okay.
We didn't. I actually listened. And we didn't drink to 100% yesterday, so you have to do 2. You have to do 2. All right.
But then the other side of that coin is I'd be playing golf right now if it wasn't for the podcast.
Well, you'd be playing shitty golf, so it's fine.
I'm playing pretty good right now.
You're having a better time. You're having a better time here.
The ball pretty good.
You're having a better time in the illegal shift studio.
All right. Where do you want to start today? I mean, you know what?
There is so much.
It is.
I want to bring up something real quick that I missed yesterday.
All right.
And this one was just funny to me. Let's see. I got to pull it up. I left it on the tab because, well,
the story we didn't get to yesterday.
Yeah, this takes place in West Virginia.
All right.
So your mind can start going however you want to start. Man charged after allegedly stealing Subway sandwiches and growling at people in Morgantown, West Virginia.
This made an effective means of escape.
Look at this guy.
He looks like Manson.
Exactly. That's exactly what I thought about. So this story goes, man was charged after allegedly stealing sandwiches by using threats of violence and growling at people in Morgantown. According to a criminal complaint filed by Morgantown Police Department, officers were dispatched on February 20th to Subway, doesn't matter where, it's in Morgantown, for a reported disturbance. When officers arrived, witnesses stated David Clark, 48 of Morgantown, entered the Subway and, quote unquote, went behind the counter and started to make and eat food.
48 years old?
48 years old.
I mean, don't you have your shit together enough by then to realize
enough to know better?
You shouldn't be doing shit like that.
While Clark was behind the counter, staff at the Subway told him to stop, but Clark responded by raising his fist in a threatening manner and making threats, which caused the staff to flee the restaurant. Officers located Clark outside the Subway with the unpaid food in his mouth, and Clark was also growling at citizens in the area. He's growling like a dog with an Italian BMT in his mouth or whatever it was.
Well, hopefully he'll be locked up for a while.
But look at this fucker. I mean, how do you do that? Like you said, at 48, that's immediately where my mind went. 48 years old, you're old enough to know better.
I mean, I guess if you need a sandwich that bad, you just go in and take it. You know, you're going to get locked up.
But it's Morgantown.
He didn't threaten the cops or anything.
He's probably tweaked out.
Probably.
He's not the college kid who was drunk after a West Virginia football game. This is a tweaked out fucker, I guarantee it. But that was a story.
Maybe he's working on a doctorate. You never know.
Oh, he's working on something, that's for sure.
What doctorates do they offer at West Virginia
But
University?
we didn't hit that one yesterday, and that one just made me giggle because I could only imagine. I pictured Dan Carroll going behind the counter at Subway with bread meat just spraying out of his mouth, growling at people.
I got to be honest with you. I've not been to Subway in quite a while.
Oh, Subway's garbage.
Ever since they did the advertising with what's the female soccer player who hates God and is all pissed off because her last soccer event, she was kicking. What are they doing? The penalty kicks or whatever they call that.
Oh, yeah. I can't remember her name.
Fuck her.
Fuck her.
I'm glad she missed. And then she comes out and says there's no God because her career ended that way. Well, you know what? If you weren't such a piece of shit, maybe people, maybe a little good karma would have come your way. But she wants to kneel for the national anthem, wants to badmouth Trump, wants to wants to say
Rapinoe.
Yeah. Well, yeah. When they started using her for the advertising, I said, that's it. No more Subway.
No more.
That was it for me.
And Subway's not that great anyway.
Well, I mean, Subway used to be on my regular rotation. You go in there, you get the sandwich toasted. It's a little bit better. I like it a little toasted.
You got to toast it. Yep. If you do go there, toast
But
it.
I found suitable replacements. Jersey Mike's is nice.
I love Jersey Mike's.
I like Jersey Mike's.
A little more pricey, but I like it.
Yeah.
Better quality.
Penn Station is awesome.
That's a guilty pleasure.
Oh,
Penn Station is a guilty pleasure. That's a you get a to-go sandwich, a Philly cheesesteak.
Do you get the big one? Can you eat the big one?
No.
You can't eat the big one?
No, I can't. But
I can eat the big one and fries.
I have to come home, put sweatpants on before I even start. So that way my belt isn't pushing on my fat gut. But yeah, No, I'm with you. Penn Station is the shit.
The only thing about Penn Station is you got to call ahead or else you sit in that drive-through forever.
No, I go in and get it. I watch them make it.
I
watch them make it.
I call ahead.
Oh, Faulkner said Firehouse Subs. I do like Firehouse
Subs are good. I do. We've got a few. We don't have a whole lot of them around here, but we got
one right in Anderson.
I know.
Right
I'm
up the
saying
street.
We don't have a whole lot of them. I'm saying, but we do.
One in Westchester's, one in Springdale.
I know there's one in Blue Ash.
Yeah. That's 4. That's all you need. That covers all 4 quadrants. All 4 quadrants of our area.
But I'm saying, I mean, and say that there's 4 or 5 Subways on Beachmont Avenue.
I go to Firehouse Subs.
Saying they're not like
I go to Firehouse Subs.
Starbucks on every.
I buy their pickle buckets.
Yeah,
$2 donation. That's the greatest. Once you get the pickle smell out, it's the greatest car washing bucket you could ever buy for $2.
Nothing like a good bucket.
You go to Home Depot, you're spending what, 10, 15?
Yeah, for a 5. Is it a 5-gallon?
It's a 5-gallon bucket.
All right.
I found this story, which I found amusing to me, and everybody is, that poor girl in Georgia jogging.
Laken Riley is her name.
I thought the way some of the people are pronounced is Lincoln Riley, and I'm thinking of the football coach, but no, it's Laken.
Laken is how you spell her first name.
But CNN is now saying that there's little evidence to connect a crime.
Oh, for God's sake!
Connect crime to border crisis in the Georgia student murder.
Oh, of course.
And and CNN is literally saying that because she was jogging alone, that's the reason. Not the fact that this guy got picked up multiple times, decided to move to Georgia, fled New York City. ICE wasn't able to detain him because New York City's a sanctuary city, and they just let him go. So they couldn't detain him. But now CNN is stating that it's because she was jogging. It's not a border issue. Now, I want your opinion. I mean, obviously, I think I know your opinion, but I want the viewers and listeners to hear Dan Carroll's opinion. How much of a crock of shit is that?
Well, it turns out it's not just CNN that is reporting that. The Associated Press put out a story over the weekend that essentially did the same thing. The Associated Press totally discounted the immigration status of this complete douchebag that is suspected of killing this young woman. And then their story turned to, this really highlights the danger of women jogging alone. Because, you shouldn't jog alone. You shouldn't. In the United States of America, if you jog alone, well, you just, you run the risk of taking your life into your own hands. I mean, what a bunch of shit. This is on.
Especially when there's documentation.
This is on Joe Biden. This is on the Biden administration. This is on Alejandro Mayorkas. This is on the policy that lets these illegals come through. And it turns out that this guy had contact with the system multiple times.
Yes, that's exactly.
Do you have that part right in front of you?
Well, I know that he was charged with acting in a manner to injure a child less than 17.
Yeah.
And a motor vehicle license violation. So he's in the system, not necessarily a violent crime by any means. But let me, like my computer's being a piece of shit right now.
All right.
But there were multiple things that Antonio Ibarra, 26. I don't know why my computer's being stupid.
Yeah, this guy is a complete douchebag. And here's a report now that just came out that the brother of this illegal alien, he was here. That means he was in the country illegally.
That's
shouldn't have been here.
That's the way I read that.
So the dude who's accused of killing Laken Riley, his brother used a fake green card to get a job at the University of Georgia. So it's not just him, it's the whole fucking family that are grifters. And now they're out there killing people. And the thing is, if I sat and did the research for a half an hour, I could come up with almost a murder a day of an innocent American at the hand of some illegal douchebag who's in this country. And maybe not a straight out killing like this, but some dude who got drunk, driving on the wrong side of the road, killing people in the head-on collision, a mother and, a couple of kids. I mean, those kind of things happen all the time. And now Joe Biden's going to go to the border on Thursday. I think he's going to go to Brownsville and pretend like he gives a shit about the border, or he's going to talk about, how great his policies are doing, and they've really cleaned things up. Joe Biden hadn't done shit on the border.
Right. And for whatever reason, for this article, it was all the way up, but I can't get it to come back up. They interviewed, he's married, and his old lady is in El Paso, Texas, but said that we argued, we had our disputes, but we never raised a fist to each other. We would loudly talk to each other. I don't know any wife who's been in a fight with her husband. We would loudly talk to each other. No, we fucking yelled. We yelled. We had it out verbally, whatever. You could totally tell that this interview was directed, formulated, or whatever. But it's almost like every other. Oh, you know what? He kept to himself. It's a serial killer that lived next door. He was such a nice guy. He kept to himself. We didn't really see him much.
Well, that's why serial killers never kill their next door neighbor, because they need someone on the news to be able to say that.
Exactly.
He seemed like an okay guy. I don't know.
But his old lady wants to talk to him, and obviously they're not allowing her to do so. But no, he
well, she probably needs to be locked up too.
He wasn't a bad guy, is what she's saying.
Jose Antonio Ibarra,
which I think is bullshit.
He is charged with malice murder, felony murder, aggravated battery, aggravated assault, false imprisonment, kidnapping, hindering a 911 call, and concealing the death of another. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, also confirmed that Ibarra entered illegally in 2022. 2022. Who was president in 2022? Can you think back that far?
I have a good
Who was
guess.
president in 2022? Whose policies weren't affected the
Joseph
border?
Biden.
Robinette Biden.
Robinette Biden.
Yeah.
I said Biden. Robinette Biden.
Yeah. However, the Associated
meant,
Press published. So isn't it interesting, though, how the Associated Press and CNN are singing the same tune on this? Right? They don't talk about his immigration status. They don't talk about his criminal record. They talk rather about this young woman out there jogging by herself. Riley's death has once again put the spotlight on the dangers that female runners face. Previously, the 2018 death of University of Iowa student Molly Tibbetts while out jogging prompted the outpouring from other women who shared their tales of being harassed and followed. Several social media users called out this angle for focusing only on female runners. referring to Ibarra as an Athens resident. An Athens resident. Not an illegal, but an Athens, Georgia resident.
And
Isn't that nice?
I put this up there. Dead Lake said a quote unquote resident of Georgia. You sure fucking were not. Sure we're not.
Athens resident. So they called him an Athens resident rather than reporting in their story that the dude's an illegal alien. A separate report on AP Saturday mentioned police didn't know the suspect's immigration status. Complete bullshit. And the thing is, look, I have a background in media. I've been in media and news reporting for a long time. There was a time when the Associated Press was the gold standard for reporting in this country. Mm-hmm. And the thing is, when the Associated Press puts something out, there's not a news organization, your local television news, your local newspapers, the big networks, every major and minor outlet, every outlet in between that does not subscribe to the services of the Associated Press. So when they put a story out, it goes out to just about every news outlet that is out there. Now with the internet, there's probably a lot of internet services that don't use the Associated Press. But when you talk about mainstream major outlets, they all use the Associated Press. And the Associated Press has monumental influence over the way news stories get presented and get reported, not just in one part of the country, not just in this country, but the entire fucking planet. I mean, they've got news reporters all around the world.
Yeah.
So a lot of times the Associated Press is the only place that has a story. And if a story is going to be reported, that's why you're probably familiar with the old term rip and read, right?
Oh, yeah.
It comes across the wire. Now it's all computer driven, but I was actually working at a time when the Associated Press would actually print out on the printer, and if it was breaking news, you'd rip that copy right off the top, and then you'd run into the newsroom and read it. You rip and read. I mean, that's an old saying, and it's a true saying. So for them to do this, that was CNN simply following suit from the Associated Press, or it could have been the Democrat National Committee, which puts out talking points that often get regurgitated now by the Associated Press and CNN and MSNBC and ABC and NBC and CBS and NPR. I could keep going.
And we've talked previously on podcasts regarding how the degradation of.
I know. I need another beer.
Let me get you
reach over there and give me a beer. He's got. See, we don't have the same accommodations here at the.
I hoard them.
Illegal shifts.
I hoard them all over here.
Well, you got room for the cooler over there. You can't see right over to my right here, but there's not a lot of room.
But we've talked about the degradation of Associated Press, and I mean, I do pull some stories, as we're researching for the podcast. I'll hit Fox News, Associated Press, and then a bunch of others, and some of their stories still seem to be baseline, at least. They're not trying, but then they're not trying to sway one way or the other. But then there's others where you can literally read the first, not even a whole paragraph, and you're like, oh, I see which way this is swinging. So to me, I mean, and you deal with it a lot more than I do with your radio show. It's just to me, it's kind of, I have to read through it and be like, okay, which way are they trying to sway you? But I mean, you dig into it a lot more than I do.
Well, I did entire monologues on this on my radio show back when Trump was president, because the radio station I work at, there is news at the top and the bottom of the hour, and the newsroom there gets Associated Press copy. And so when Trump was president, he would say things, and they would use the phrase, well, President Trump made the claim without any evidence that, such and such happened today, or that the United States is going to do this, but he couldn't provide any evidence. So every time, and you think about when Obama was president, if Obama said something, it was gospel. It was, that's it. That's U.S. policy. That's Obama speaking, not to be questioned. that word is good as gold.
That was the hand of God.
But
hand of God speaking.
when Trump would say something, well, he didn't provide any evidence. He didn't provide any background material.
Did you see what he tweeted today?
Yeah,
that type of shit. Check his Twitter.
So when you have a dude like this that's out there preying on a young lady like this, and look at her picture. Think about that. I mean, I've got a daughter that's older than her. But think about what their parents are going through. She's at the University of Georgia. You're going to tell me that your daughter can't go for a jog around the campus of the University of Georgia and not be safe? Are you kidding me? And so they do this to protect the guy that's in the White House. They do this to keep people like me and Jason and people who were on the radio. I mean, it didn't work in this case, because if you listen to any conservative radio at all today, they are hammering this case and hammering this dude and hammering CNN and hammering Associated Press for acting in such a manner. If this was a murder that was committed by a dude wearing a MAGA hat or a Trump shirt or anything like that, we would know all about this dude. We would know, we'd know his social media postings. I mean, we'd know who his mom and dad are. We would know where he worked. We would know where he went to school. We would know everything. But this dude, no, we don't really know that much about him, according to CNN and the Associated Press.
Which kind of leads to your point with what you sent me with Trump and Biden making their dueling border trips, if you want to roll into that, just because, it kind of rolls right in. But I agree with you. This guy would have been persecuted already. Done, throw him in the bottom of the jail, under the jail, because, oh my God, Trump allowed him in. He allowed him in. Can you believe that?
Oh, yeah. No, this would be, if this was an illegal that came in under Trump's watch, this would be laid at his doorstep. The White House press corps would ask questions about this nonstop. And it would be Trump's fault. I mean, the blood of this young lady would be on his hands, according to just about every news outlet that's out there.
I'm pretty much waiting for
a news outlet. I should
pretty much waiting for Sideshow Bob. I mean, Corinne Jean-Pierre just be like, well, she should have been jogging by herself, and we're not going to talk about it anymore.
Oh my God! Well,
Mr. Ducey, we're not going to talk to you anymore.
It'll be interesting he's going to Brownsville. Let's see. Joe Biden expected to visit the U.S. southern border this week. He is reportedly visiting with U.S. Border Patrol in Brownsville, Texas on Thursday. His visit comes as immigration is a top issue for many American voters. Brownsville, Texas is in the Rio Grande Valley, an area often that sees large numbers of border crossings.
Greensville, Texas, not Brownsville. Or at least what you sent me.
I'm reading a different story than the one I gave you.
Well, they're probably
are Greensville and Brownsville close together?
Fuck, I don't know. I live in Ohio. I don't live in Texas.
Let's see.
I have here the president will make, and this is essentially how media goes. President will make rare visit to Greensville, Texas on February 29th, while the Republican frontrunner will go to Eagle Pass.
Eagle Pass.
That's
where a lot of the shit's happening.
That's where most of that, but that's the funny part though, is that's where most of the shit's happening, but yet the sitting president is not going to where the shit show is.
But in Eagle Pass, the actual number of border crossings is down because what have they done there? They've put up the containers to build a makeshift wall.
Which those things are cheap, by the way.
Are they really? How much is one of those shipping container? How much?
$1,200. You can get one for $1,200.
Are you kidding me?
15 delivered. 1,500 delivered.
You've looked into this.
I had one delivered at my old fire department, and we used it as storage
to purchase.
Yeah,
not to rent.
Purchase.
Really?
You own it.
A used one?
They drop it. They bring it on a flatbed. They drop it. $1,500.
A used one, and it was in good shape. Didn't leak.
Yeah.
How about that?
I think, and when I saw that's what was happening, is that's what they were using as a deterrent. I'm like, that's fucking great. You can't climb the side of that son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Especially if you stack them multiple.
Right.
I mean, surely, those squirrely motherfuckers that are coming over the border, they'll pull almost like a circus act, climb up each other's backs and shit. I mean, they'll figure a way.
I've seen the video.
I mean, anybody that's had mice in their house, they figure a way in. But the shipping containers, I thought, was a great idea.
Yeah, the ship. So and
Very
that plus layer after layer after layer of razor wire, and guess what? People ain't coming across that part of the border anymore.
Correct.
And of course, what did the Biden administration do, though? The Biden administration tried to shut them down. The Biden administration sued and went to court and tried to get the Supreme Court to say you can't do that anymore. And thankfully, that didn't happen. So now Biden's going to go back to the border, and it's going to be interesting to see what he says. He's also considering, listen to this, executive action to stop the flow of migrants into the U.S. Among actions under consideration is invoking authorities outlined in Section 212F of the Immigration Nationality Act, which give a president broad leeway to block entry of certain immigrants into the United States if it would be detrimental to the national interest. So would blocking a dude like this guy who killed that woman, would that be a good thing? Would that be can this guy be considered detrimental to the national interest? I would think so. But
maybe
2 weeks ago, he was saying he didn't have the power to do anything. So the media is going to report on this. You got a picture of a container right there.
20 footers, $1,275. I mean, I don't know where this one is, but
those things are, I would not have guessed they were that inexpensive.
I just Googled it. $1,700 for a 40 footer.
Well, those are the big ones.
I'm all about it.
Yeah. So it's amazing how much of our news is connected to what's happening at the border. So on Thursday, watch your CNN, watch your Fox News, watch your MSNBC, watch all your cable outlets, and we'll see what happens. Because this guy doesn't give a shit about what happens at the border. But now that it's hurting him in the polls, he's got to pretend like he's going to do something.
Well, yeah, I'm going to make an executive order because now it's an issue where it hasn't been an issue for the last fucking 3.5 years. 3 years and change, whatever. Cincy 513 he's gonna correct me at some point.
But about what?
Well, because I said 3.5 or. He's already correcting me. He's already
says they're like 7,000.
Yeah, he's already corrected me at 7,000. Okay.
Well, didn't you just look them up?
I literally just looked it up, but
$1,700 for the big one.
We can argue about it all day long, but I can't. And if they are 7,000, Cincy 513, it's because your Joe Bidenomics made them 7,000. Because when I fucking bought it, it was fucking 1,200. 1,500 delivered or 1,400 delivered.
Well, I mean,
we can argue tit for tat if you want, but I literally just pulled it up right off the Google where you would go if you needed one.
Well, he's free to go buy his for 7,000.
Absolutely,
you'll buy yours for 1,700.
You pay 7. Yeah. You pay 7.
I've got no problem. That's capitalism.
Sorry, I got a little bit hot there.
If someone can sell them for $7,000 and make money at it, God bless them.
Yeah, that's why fucking gas prices are up too. Well, it's the Bidenomics.
Well, they've actually come down.
They've come down finally.
Last couple of days,
but they'll go up in fucking 2 days.
I know
it's up and down, up and down. It's like my fucking heart rate in this goddamn podcast when Cincy 513 comments. Up and down, up and down. We need to get an AED and put it right here. Just put an AED right here for you or me. That way,
in case we have a heart attack.
That way, just in case something happens. I want to be prepared, Dan.
So I would just throw all this stuff off the table, throw you up there. Clear. Boom.
Well,
was that how it works on TV?
Well, it's how it works on TV. It's not how it works in the real world. And if it's just you, you don't have to say clear because as long as you're not touching me, you're good. And actually, you really won't even get that much of a shock. But
have you ever been shocked by one?
no,
Like accidentally?
no, because I don't touch anything.
Do you have to say clear before you do it?
No, we make sure everybody's clear. We're like, everybody ready? All right. Bink.
So you don't, it's not like on TV.
No, it's definitely not.
All right. Another story that's in the news.
Cincy 513 said, now I'm going to turn the comments up to 11. I like it.
Bring them. We're ready for you.
I like it. I know where to find you.
Look, if you want to protest things, there are ways to protest that are that can be effective. What this dude did, was it Saturday or Sunday?
It's definitely not the way I'm going to fucking protest. I can tell you that right now.
Yeah, it was on Sunday. And I guess this happened while we were, it was a little bit before we did the podcast, so we didn't have this story on Sunday. But dude's in the Air Force, 25 years old, not happy about the current policy with regard to Israel and Hamas. I guess he's all bent out of shape about Palestine, Palestinians, whatever. Says he will no longer be part of it or be a party to it. So he decides to go and set himself on fire.
There are so many other ways.
Not an effective means of protest.
Oh,
I mean, really?
Definitely not.
I mean, on one hand, I'm glad he didn't hurt anyone else. He didn't go on a killing spree. But then, do we know what the accelerant used was? Does it matter? Gasoline?
All I heard was an accelerant.
Yeah.
You have to assume it's gas. I mean, that's very easily accessible.
Yeah.
You have to assume it's gasoline. There is no motherfucking way. I don't care how mad Cincy 513 makes me at times. I'm not dousing myself with gasoline and lighting myself on fire. And our buddy Andrew Pappas posted on Facebook. He was like, if you want to see it, he was like, do not go watch it. Do not. I have not personally seen it.
I haven't seen it. I've seen video of people on fire before. It's not a pleasant thing.
Oh, it's fucking terrible.
It's a horrible thing.
I've literally seen people on fire in front of me. It's fucking terrible. It's the worst. And when I saw this, I was like, oh, you gotta be kidding me. But like you said, not a great way to protest.
But the thing is, because look, I don't know. I couldn't right now. I've got the story in front of me. I haven't read it enough. I've heard the guy's name. I don't know his name right now. If you ask
Aaron
me,
Bushnell.
Right. Okay, that's fine.
San Antonio, Texas.
But I will not remember this guy's name, and I doubt you'll remember this guy's name. Nope. If I asked you in a week from now, what was that dude's name? You're not going to remember.
No.
I told my daughter one time
he will no longer be complicit in genocide.
But doing this kind of thing is never a good idea. There was one when my daughter was younger. She was going through a thing that a lot of teenage girls go through, right? With the cutting, right? Like, they take a knife or something or a fork and they scratch themselves so they bleed a little bit, and they act out in that sort of way. And really all they're doing is trying to draw attention to themselves. And then she started with this stuff. Oh, I want to kill myself. Right? All this bullshit. So I had her in the car one day, and when driving through the neighborhood that I grew up in, and we stopped, I didn't say anything, but I stopped in front of this house. And she said, "What do we stop for?" And I said, "You see that house over there?" And she said, "Yeah." I said, "When I was growing up in this neighborhood, there was a kid who lived in that house, who I knew back then. He was in high school. His girlfriend broke up with him. He was very upset about it, and he killed himself, thinking that, oh, woe is me. Look how bad my life is, and everyone's going to feel sorry for me." And I said, I said, you know, he went to a different high school than I did, but we lived in the same neighborhood. I knew this guy. I said, by the time I graduated for high school, no one thought about this guy. No one remembered him. I couldn't tell you today this guy's name. Totally out of my memory.
Yeah.
And I like to think that made a point to her that, okay, you do something like this to yourself. All right. You're going to get a little pop in the news. People might care for a day or so, but you know what? After a day or two, they're going to go about their lives again. You're gone. You did it to yourself. People let that shit go. And it doesn't, in the span of 48 or 72 hours, they're not thinking about you anymore. They've got their own shit and their own lives to deal with. And, yeah. I mean, okay. It was, who did I know? Tommy or Rosie or Joe or Alan, they killed themselves. Well, that sucks, but.
Well, see, I'll agree to disagree because I had one of my best friends in high school kill himself. And I think about him every day.
Mm-hmm.
I think about him on the anniversary of it. But but I'm pissed off every fucking day. I'm pissed off every fucking year because it's the most selfish act you can do. Now, when you're doing it for, I'm not going to be a part of this genocide and whatever, you signed up to be a military personnel.
Yeah.
For the betterment of the country. And that's what you're fucking tasked to do. Whether it's, you get shipped off, you're on one of those carriers in the Red Sea with, that's going on right now. Whatever, you signed up for that. So when you start putting your beliefs, and whether you agree with the politics or not, obviously, I mean, we get discourse in these chats all the time because not everybody agrees with Dan and I and Rob. But that's what it's about, is talking about it, talking it out. But to go set yourself on fucking fire in protest, nobody gives a shit that you went and set yourself on fire, Mr. Bushnell. And I won't remember his name because I just don't care. You signed up for the fucking job. Right, wrong, or indifferent. That's what, as soon as you're done, then you can do, as soon as your tour's over and, your contract's done, okay, go do what you want to do. But the act of suicide, I think, it's the most selfish bullshit fucking answer on the face of the planet. But this guy being so goddamn weak and he thinks he's going to make a statement. Now, he made the news, granted, and we're talking about it. But we're talking about it because he's so fucking dumb. That's why we're talking about it.
This will not be a story tomorrow.
No.
Or the next day or the day after that. And this is done. And
I do get very fucking passionate about that.
And his family is left behind to pick up the pieces.
Exactly. You leave everybody else behind. Fuck you. Fuck you. You know what? You're better off.
They got to handle all of your affairs now. They got to.
The fire you doused yourself in and fucking burnt yourself up is going to be, that's not even a fucking glimpse of what you're going to fucking deal with for the rest of eternity. Go fuck yourself. And that's my take.
Well, I mean,
that actually worked out perfect. That could be like an actual fucking tagline.
Look, I respect our men and women in the military, but this dude, there's other ways to go, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Other ways to go.
And there's no fucking way I'd fucking set myself on fire. Oh my God, I'm a fireman, but I get a blister and I cry like a bitch. I burn myself with a lighter. I'm like, ooh, ow, ow, oh shit. For 3 days, Jill has to fucking hear about it. What else do we have? I got Today in History real quick.
Oh, okay.
Now we talk about the Associated Press, but their Today in History is actually really, really good that I've found.
There's a lot of them out there.
I know, but this is one I found and I like it.
All right.
This day in history, February 26, 1993, a truck bomb built by Islamic extremists exploding in the parking garage of the North Tower in New York's World Trade Center.
Oh, that was, man. What year was that?
93.
1993.
Killing 6 people and injuring more than 1,000. That's, when you think about it, though, that's crazy, though, because it doesn't seem like that long ago, but then when you sit there, you're like, yeah, it is.
Yeah.
1993.
Didn't do a lot of damage to the building either.
That we know of.
Well, I recall that because they, after September 11, 2001, they were talking about, this bombing. I mean, people were killed, obviously, but as far as doing serious structural damage to the building, I mean, I guess they were hoping but you blow up this truck in the parking garage, you bring down the whole building. Well, that didn't happen. So they were talking about how well constructed that building actually was.
And the execution, it was just different.
Yeah.
All right, so let me pull it up on screen so everybody can see. Let's see. What else? 1815, Napoleon Bonaparte escaped from exile on the island of Elba and headed back to France in a bid to regain power.
Who?
Napoleon Bonaparte.
Napoleon. Did you go see that movie?
Yes.
The Napoleon movie?
I did.
Did you recommend it? Did you give it a thumbs up?
I did. I liked it.
All right. I haven't seen it yet.
I wasn't super versed in, I'm a history guy, but I'm not versed in that history. I like our Civil War history more so, but I learned a lot. I remember some of the shit from school that they taught me. I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, I remember that a little bit, but that was a great movie though. Let's see.
Is it on the Netflix now?
No, not yet.
It's
I don't
not?
think.
All right.
1904, the United States and Panama proclaimed a treaty under which the U.S. agreed to undertake efforts to build a ship canal. You might know it as the Panama Canal. That was that started being built when you were born. That was nice.
What year?
1904.
No, it's a little bit before my time.
Although
a great engineering feat.
I'm going to skip. Oh, yeah.
No doubt about it.
1945, authorities ordered a midnight curfew at nightclubs, bars, and other places of entertainment across the nation.
1940?
1945. Were you born then?
Was that that one? I thought Prohibition was before that.
Prohibition was. I'm just telling you what it's saying, bud.
Well, run that by me again.
Oh my God. 1945, authorities ordered a midnight curfew at nightclubs, bars, and other places of entertainment across the nation.
So that was nationwide. Every place had to shut down by midnight.
That's what it's saying.
Well, I'm not a fan of that.
I'm not a fan of it either.
Oh. There's what's the name of that bar that's up there on the corner of Mount Carmel, Tabasco, and Old 74? Hank's. I drive past there a lot when I come home after my radio shows at midnight, and it's around 12:30ish at night. It doesn't matter what night of the week it is. There's always people in.
Well, it's because they're different liquor license. You can stay open till 2.
I know. I'm just saying.
So apparently something changed.
I'm just saying. There's always people in there.
Yeah.
Sometimes I have a hankering. I'm thinking maybe I'm going to stop and see who's hanging out at Hank's tonight.
I think you should. I like that place.
Well, maybe you should meet me for a late night beer there.
Oh, Jesus. All right. If I don't have to work the next day, yeah, I will.
All right.
Shoot me
we'll
a text.
Set that up.
1952, Prime Minister Winston Churchill announced that Britain had developed its own atomic bomb. Do you believe that? You really think that Great Britain actually created an atomic bomb?
No.
I don't believe it either.
I don't believe it.
I don't believe it. I think you're lying.
Good propaganda.
That's right. People will talk about it.
We've got an A-bomb. Don't fuck with us.
In 1998, a jury in Amarillo, Texas, rejected an $11 million lawsuit brought by Texas cattlemen who blame Oprah Winfrey's talk show for a price fall after a segment on food safety that included a discussion about mad cow disease. You know what's funny? As dumb as it is, I vaguely remember that.
The mad cow. Yeah, I remember the whole thing about mad cow.
I graduated high school that year, by the way.
Yeah. But I think it turned out to be way blown out of proportion. Mad cow. It's just like a rabid dog.
Another. This is a big one. In 2012, Trayvon Martin, 17, was shot to death in Sanford, Florida, during an altercation with neighborhood watch volunteer George Zimmerman, who said he acted in self-defense. Zimmerman was later acquitted of second-degree murder.
That's a story.
It doesn't seem like that was that long ago.
It wasn't. Can you grab me a one? That was a story. I was working in Dayton at that time,
God, that doesn't seem like it was that long ago.
when that story broke. And here's the thing. That story had already been out there for about a week before it really started getting national attention. And so the way it had been portrayed, the only images that you saw of Trayvon Martin were of him like when he was playing football when he was like 9 or 10 years old, right? Like a really young little kid, little boy. And so the narrative that was being spun before alternative media started looking into this and exposing the true facts about it. And I thought that this dude had killed a 9 or 10-year-old boy who was walking down the street minding his own business. And I was, and my mindset on this was, this guy needs to be fucking strung up. He needs to get, everything that's coming to him in the court system and all that. But then, of course, slowly the truth about what really happened that day started coming out. But if that media, there's still a lot of people who believe that narrative that Trayvon Martin was just this innocent young boy minding his own business. And this guy, vigilante guy, right?
Yeah. He
racist, white
vigilante.
What they call him, a white Hispanic guy, tracked him down simply to kill him for the thrill of it. I mean, that was the narrative that was being spun.
Oh, yeah.
Then, of course, we come to find out that Trayvon Martin was a teenager, actually a pretty good-sized kid that attacked this guy, had him down like a ground and pound, and was beating the shit out of this dude. And he was able to pull his gun for self-defense and fucking shoot this guy. So, and of course, those are the facts that came out at trial. But I was, this was the media narrative that was spun, and I was buying into it. And I'm thinking to myself, because the only pictures I saw were Trayvon Martin, 9, 10, 11 years old.
In the hoodie.
And I was thinking that this was the guy that got that this vigilante guy killed. And then, of course, the facts started coming out, and we realized the lie that had been being pushed. And Obama, if I had a son, he would look like Trayvon.
Our next one, which once you get Cincy 513 and you probably in a debate. In 2018, President Donald Trump, who had been highly critical of law enforcement response to the Florida school shooting, told a room full of governors at the White House that if he had been there, he would have rushed in unarmed. I don't believe that.
Run that by me again.
Oh, my God. You want me to read? You don't listen? In 2018, President Donald Trump, who had been highly critical of law enforcement response to the Florida school shooting, told a room full of governors at the White House that if he had been there, he would have rushed in unarmed. I don't believe that for 1 second.
Well, I don't know.
I don't believe it for 1 second. And that's this day in history.
So Trump said he was essentially saying I would have sacrificed myself to save those kids.
I don't fucking believe that. I don't believe that for 1 second. But
I don't remember him saying that at the time.
Well, you weren't in the room with a bunch of governors, apparently.
Well,
I wasn't either.
I wasn't. So if some governor
no, Cincy 513, I don't believe that Donald Trump would have run in unarmed. I don't know a whole lot of people that would run in unarmed. I don't believe that story.
But that's not a direct quote. That's according to some governor who was there or someone who was at that meeting.
Somebody that was in the room.
Yeah, I'm not buying it.
I'm not buying that he would even do that. I'm saying let's just hypothetically say that he did say that and it was fact. Oh, I'd run in there unarmed. No, you wouldn't. Shut the fuck up. See, I can be unbiased, Cincy 513.
No, I'm saying
he would not run in unarmed.
I'd wager that he'd never said that.
Okay. Well,
that's my thinking of it.
It is stated in this day in history that it was said.
But are they quoting him directly? Or are they quoting someone who was at the meeting? And of course, the AP would throw. I mean, it's insignificant that I think that he said that. I don't know why that would be this date in history. I was alive when that happened. I was covering news when that happened.
I was alive.
I never remember that being an item in the news that he said such a thing.
He does say.
I'm aware of a lot of the crazy shit that
he does say some dumb shit, and I'm
not saying he doesn't,
and I can see him saying that. I can see him saying it. I can totally see him saying it. I can see him saying it.
I don't know.
See, look, this is where you and I disagree.
This is why I like it.
This is why I like.
I'm just saying. I would wager that someone at that meeting. Look, it's like the other saying that the lie that Joe Biden is out there telling that Donald Trump referred to soldiers in World War II as fools. As I think you call it, the quote was like idiots and fools, which of course he never said. But Joe Biden is out there acting like he said it. But one thing that I can tell you that is true, 100%.
Oh, you said it. Shit.
Oh, there we go. I might say it again.
Here, cheers.
And they will be at the fundraiser that we're having for our buddy Rob Herking. It is the Varner Netherton Revival. The boys are together again and have been for a little while now, and they are really making the best music of their lives. Cincinnati's own Dan Varner is rejoined with longtime friends Nick, Brad, and Rye. And Varner Netherton is filling up clubs and venues everywhere between Cincinnati and Nashville and all kinds of places in between. More than award-winning musicians and recording artists, they are just plain fun. And if you go to one of these shows, you are going to have a great time. I mean, a big crowd, small crowd, doesn't matter, 10 to 10,000. Everyone gets up, sing along, you dance, you do all the rest. And the best part of the whole thing is Varner Netherton Revival. You can book them for one of your events. So check out a show near you, like we're going to have at the Tap House on the 16th.
Yep.
And March 16th. And you can find out more. The website, very easy. You see it right there at the bottom of your screen. VarnerNetherton.com. That is VarnerNetherton.com. And once again, we appreciate all the great friendship and sponsorship that Dan Varner has provided to One More and I'm Out of Here over these many, many podcasts, as we are well above 200 podcasts now.
This will be 202.
So far in the rearview mirror, I can't even see 200 anymore. We are sailing onward, my friend.
No, Dan was very instrumental in getting Rob's fundraiser together, and obviously, them playing, and then getting some other acts, hopefully, and just helping get everything planned. And he helps the podcast whenever we have our live events. So we definitely appreciate him and all of the band because they're very supportive as well. But let's see. What else did we have? Dan?
Kristi Noem, Trump and Kristi Noem had a meeting. Kristi Noem, of course, the governor of South Dakota, doing a great job. I like her a lot. I think she would be a good pick. But I still have a couple of others out there that I think I would like a little bit more.
Yeah.
If he picked her, I would not have any issue with it. I just think there's a couple other picks that might be a little more effective.
It is. This is very curious to me because, excuse me, Tim Scott's with him everywhere.
Tim Scott is a great supporter,
and it seems like, everybody's hanging on, to who he's going to grab. Who is that person? This one, it surprised me coming out the way it did. I thought she might be in the running, but not toward the top.
She's done a great job in South Dakota. She did a great job during the Wuhan. I know I got to lean forward a little bit.
Your microphone etiquette is terrible.
I know. I think Kristi Noem, one of the things that I think I would enjoy immensely is a debate between her and Kamala Harris.
That should be a pay-per-view event.
I really believe she would just mop the floor with Kamala Harris. It would not be a fair fight.
I don't even know. I don't even realize that we have a vice president, to be honest with you. Kamala is nowhere typically to be found until she's doing the fucking
She's worthless.
that stupid fucking laugh. You'll hear her occasionally, but then it's fucking radio silence for months and months. I literally forget that we have a vice president.
Well, she's actually out touring the country right now on her what I call all abortion all the time tour. So she's making all these stops in all these different states and abortion, Roe v. Wade. We got to get stop a national ban. Trump wants to ban abortion nationwide, all this stuff, blah, blah, blah. And essentially that's pretty much all she's good for right now. I mean, she's such a liability. And this is one of the big stumbling blocks, one of the huge hurdles that the Democrats have facing themselves right now. That if Joe Biden can't get dragged across the finish line in November, how do you get past this roadblock of Kamala Harris, the vice president, and then inserting someone like Gavin Newsom or Michelle Obama? How do you do that? And I mean, that is going to be a major, major trick if they're able to pull that off, because Kamala is next in line. Although I go back to my original theory on this, is that she cut a deal early on with Biden. If he picked her to be VP and they won, which I don't think anyone really thought they had a chance in hell of winning, especially in the DNC. I don't think they really had a chance. I mean, they knew they were going to chisel. They knew they were going to cheat. And the fact that Joe Biden, it's not a fact, but the alleged fact that he got 81 million votes is, you're never going to convince me that actually happened, that there was cheating and fraud and all the rest of it that took place. So the fact that they won and that she's the vice president now, I don't think anyone thought that was ever going to be an eventuality and really take place. So I think she cut a deal early on and say, look, you're going to be the vice president. Joe's not going to be calling the shots. So-and-so is going to be calling the shots. You got to be the good soldier. You got to be out there and say, Joe is great. The whole 9 yards. You can't stir the pot. You can't raise hell, but you'll be vice president, which for most people is pretty good.
Yeah. You ride on the coattails. You take your trip over here while they take their trip over here. You shake hands, kiss babies, or shake babies and kiss hands, whatever you want to do. And the president's only the figurehead. And then you have your vice president, who obviously we have a vice president right now we have a figurehead who's not even really there. And then you have a vice president that's not even there.
She's worse than he is.
It's like the parents went out of town and forgot the kids.
How does she possibly save face, though, if she gets dumped overboard and they bring in Michelle or Gavin Newsom or something like that?
Oh, she might set herself on fire. Because I honestly,
Kamala, don't do that.
I
don't
honestly
do that.
feel that if something were to happen, let's just hypothetically say, this is a hypothetical, Secret Service, don't come down on me. Our commander in chief that we currently have has a medical crisis and goes, and Kamala comes in. She will have no idea what the fuck to do. Now, granted, she's got people to tell her what to do, which Biden has people to tell him. Trump had people to tell him what to do. He didn't listen to a lot of it. Obama, Bush, Nixon, they all had people to tell them what to do. They're just a fucking figurehead. But when you think that you could physically do that job, though, physically and mentally and emotionally do that job, even though you're just a figurehead, there's a lot involved in it, obviously. But people are fucking telling you, oh, you got a meeting at this time. You got a meeting at this time. You got a meeting at this time.
Yeah.
I mean, your day's dictated out for you.
But even though she has people telling her that she's in South Korea and not North Korea,
right,
she still managed to fuck that up.
Right.
I mean, you got to have a little bit of hope that the person you're dealing with is at least, has some modicum of competence.
Right.
And she totally, I mean, she screwed the pooch on that one.
Well,
man.
but and between her and Joe, neither one of them could tie their fucking shoes together. That's
So
why
here's the thing.
That's why they got Joe New Jimmers. He can't even fucking walk.
Here's what I think about Trump, though, when it comes to selecting a vice president. This probably is a well-orchestrated head fake. I think there's going to be several of these that happen before long. And when he does announce his vice president, it's going to be someone that hasn't been talked a lot about, and possibly someone, I know I'm fiddling with this thing, possibly someone that is not in the mainstream. You know, you see the lineup all the time, right? It could be Kristi Noem, could be Vivek Ramaswamy, could be Ben Carson, could be Tulsi Gabbard, could be Carrie Lake, could be this person, that person, Tim Scott. I would not be surprised if it's not one of those people that you see on Fox News or one of the other news shows when they put all the lineup, you know, the Brady Bunch panel of all the people who it could possibly be. So that's where I'm at. And that's the way it is on February 26, 2024. It's what Walter Cronkite used to say.
That's the way it is. All right. So we have, let's see, real quick.
I heard that moon lander fell over, though.
Yeah, it's on side. It landed.
But it's sending pictures.
It's still functional, but it's on its side. And it's one of the first, co-funded with a private entity.
It's private.
And obviously NASA was involved, but when it landed, they said that it came in too hot. And it landed on its side and broke one of the legs.
But look, we can still take a picture.
We're like, oh yeah, we're looking at space. Well, I can see space from here. I actually had an article a couple podcasts ago. We just didn't get to it.
I mean, why wouldn't they make the landing gear a little bit wider?
Or stronger.
Make it so it can't fall over.
I mean, stronger. I mean, if you're gonna invest that type of money, you would think the engineers had kind of anticipated some of this shit. We'll end it with this one. This story I found funny. So, mom loses disability case after a news report shows her winning a tree throwing competition.
Who among us hasn't?
I haven't played.
Hasn't thrown a tree.
I haven't played this video. I'm going to play it.
Oh, for God's sake!
I don't know what this is.
Is everyone going to see this?
Well, get live tax
you got to go through it
free and file your taxes free with
I didn't pre-plan this. I'm sorry.
You
got 10 seconds. My bad.
1040 and limited credits only.
Talk amongst yourselves.
I wasn't really actually going to play the video, but then it was there, so I was like, fuck it.
How do you throw it? It's like a bear.
Well, up in Canada, they apparently throw Christmas trees into the zoo, but the bears and shit.
Well, that's
like,
how friendly the brown bears.
You're like,
do the bears eat Christmas trees?
Apparently, I don't know.
Oh, good.
A woman in Ireland, I said Canada, I meant Ireland, lost more than $800,000 in injury lawsuit stemming from a car crash after photos showed her launching a Christmas tree during a post-holiday competition and winning. Camilla Grabska, 36, sued an insurance agency after her car wreck. I'm paraphrasing a little bit, causing her debilitating neck and back pain that prevented her from holding down a job for 5 years.
When that happens.
The car accident was a result of someone hitting Grabska's car, blah, 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 blah.
Oh, there's a good picture.
Yeah, there's a picture of her.
Is that a guy? Is that her or is that a dude?
No, that's her. She's fucking hoisting that fucking tree.
Pretty good photo right there.
Nearly a year after the accident supposedly left her disabling pain, the Irish High Court reviewed a photo of Grabska launching a tree, which a judge, Carmel Stewart, described as a very graphic picture. Yeah,
you're got good form.
You're not going to get your fucking disability when you're fucking throwing Christmas trees when you say you have neck and back pain. You fucktard. You're a fucking idiot. It's just like when people call into the firehouse Oh, I'm not going to make it in. And then post shit on Facebook where they're all fucked up in a bar. Doesn't
Not
fare
smart.
well. Doesn't fare well.
Not smart. My buddy Todd used to, he would have a live Christmas tree every year. And then he would put them in his backyard and let them get dried out and all that. And then sometime during the course of the summer, he would always have a big party at his house. And he would take the dried out Christmas tree from the year before and start a fire in his backyard and throw that Christmas tree on top of the fire once it got going nice. I mean, you want to feel the heat. A dried up Christmas tree goes up like a box of balsa wood, man.
Oh, dude, yeah, it's phenomenal.
It's amazing.
It'll melt your fucking face
was fun.
off.
We did that. We did that for about 4 or 5 years in a row. That was big fun.
But yeah, so that's our stupid story of the fucking day. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't get pictures taken of you if you have a disability claim. Don't be cleaning your gutters out.
And we've been full of good information today. Don't set yourself on fire. And don't engage in a Christmas tree throwing competition when you're claiming disability.
I think it's all great
words
info.
to live by.
Words to live by.
And you can take those words with you until our next podcast.
There you go.
That'll be fantastic.
And we'll let you know when that next podcast is. But stay tuned. Keep following the Instagram, Facebook.
Right now, we don't know when our next podcast is.
Yeah, we're going to figure that out.
We got to figure that out when we're done with this.
Probably in about a minute and a half.
All right. Won't that be fun?
Dan, do you have any questions?
I don't have any questions today.
All right. Sounds good.
Well,